Well, my name is Dennis Slattery. I'm the president of the board of OHRA. I will be sort of the person that helps things move along today. You won't get a lot of me, you'll get a lot of other people, and that's a good thing. We have a full day for you. This is an exciting day for us. Some of us have been talking, planning, seeing your names on sheets of paper. You are all much more intimidating in person. As I stand here and you're all looking back this way. But we're looking forward to a informative, educational, inspiring day of trying to help ourselves educate up on the issues that we face as a community, as a state, as a nation. So thank you for being here. It means a lot to us. Just take a look at the people in this room. This is terrific. This is the signs of a committed community that's looking for answers. I walked around the room listening to conversations. You can all sit down now. Thank you very much for putting up with me. I walked around the room and I really hated to get started because there were so many great conversations going on. So we'll provide more time for that even at the end of the day. We've extended this from 4 when the program ends to 5. We have the room until 5, and please feel free to connect and reconnect then. So we're looking for a great day. Our purpose, as I've said, is to educate, to inspire. Homelessness, in case any of us thought that, is not going away anytime soon. As a matter of fact, the challenges are only getting greater, and we need more and more. And our best opportunity of being able to handle all that is when we work together. When we all pull on the same end of the rope rather than pull against each other. We have limited resources that we need to spread to as many people to help as many people as possible. So that's what we're here today to talk about. There are 2 things that I talk about constantly when it comes to this subject. One, there's a saying that I came across that I'd like to share, which is only those without a home are desperate to find one. And one of the things we're all invested in is helping them find a place. One of the equations, because I have to simplify things for me to get my head around, is that when you have more people than you have housing, in whatever way you want to call housing, you have to have homelessness. And we've experienced that here directly with the fires, if nothing else. There are people who one day had a home and the next day are looking for a home. And we're trying to still recover from that. And so there are many, many issues when it comes to housing that we're looking to address. The other thing that comes to mind is that homelessness and employment are the leading causes, housing and employment are the leading causes of homelessness. The other issues, drugs, mental health, those kind of issues are tertiary. The main causes are homelessness and employment, and the employment, we should say, has to be strong enough to pay for the housing. The housing is the variable, is the important variable that we have at this point in time to cure for, that we have to focus on, and that's what so many of us in this room are, and I think all of us in this room are focused on. You will hear, and that's what our purpose is today. We have some wonderful professionals who are working at the state level, at the national level. We have people that are working at the local level in an intensive fashion to be able to help people find that place. Once we can find people a home, we can give them hope, and we can help them move from one stage to stability. And that's what we do. That's what we do at OHRA. That's what so many of you in here that I've seen do in your organization. So we're going to talk about that. One last thing that I always like to do when I get to talk to people. Down the street here is the OHRA Center. At the OHRA Center, as we speak, there are a committed group of employees, staff people, who are working with our clients. And they do this day in and day out. Our navigators, we call them our secret sauce, are the people that make magic happen and help people find their way. And I always like a crowd like this so that people will go back and tell them we did this, to give them a big round of applause. So for our staff at the OHRA Center, please. So the rest of my comments are only about 25 or 30 minutes long. That was funnier when I thought of it this morning. Really, less of me and more of these other people. And the first person that it gives me a great deal of pleasure to introduce. All of this happens. The board is wonderful. We do everything we can to support staff and to support this particular person. We have a dynamic, energetic, I would say courageous, full force, a force of nature, all the things you can. If you know Cass, you know that under Cass, all those words are in the dictionary. But I am so proud of her because she takes nothing and makes something. She works with everybody, and she is tireless. And I can't be any more proud to serve as a president of a board that has an executive director such as Cass Sinclair.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. It's just wonderful to see such a full room and to know that this is such an important conversation to have. We sold out 7 days early. We were not expecting to fill the seats, so this is just the beginning of a great conversation. So I'm Cass Sinclair. I'm the Executive Director of OHRA, and thank you, Dennis. I wanted to start with some thank yous as well. I'd like to thank Jordan Pease. He's the founder and director of Rogue Valley Metaphysical Library and producer of the Architects of New Paradigm conference series, and since 2015 has produced large events like this on the West Coast, with a special thanks to Jordan's staff, Nikki Clifton, and thank you for your tireless efforts in creating and marketing this event, from its conception, coordination, and arranging a grant from the Marin Community Foundation. Neither OHRA or RVML have incurred any expenses based on the fact that we had a wonderful grant from the Marin Community Foundation, so I have big thanks. So I'd like to just have Jordan stand up. He's already standing up, but this is Jordan Pease. Stand up, Jordan. I'd like to thank all the sponsors, in particular Deanne Everson of United Way, and thank you to our keynote speakers, our State Rep Pam Marsh, Brian Guinea from the Housing and Urban Development, and Libby Gill, our national speaker and author, who will be our keynote lunchtime speaker. We'll also have a few words from our state senator, Jeff Golden. He's in the room. Thank you to our panelists, Stacy Brubaker from Jackson County Health and Human Services, Jason Elzy, the Executive Director of the Housing Authority of Jackson County, Mary Farrell, the Executive Director of Maslow Project, Melanie Dosher from Access, and Linda Reed from the City of Ashland. Thank you to our OHRA staff and community partners who are tabling today. Thank you all for being here. Every single person on the panel and speakers and in this room is donating their time. So I'm sorry you had to give up such a beautiful sunny Saturday, but I think we'll have a good conversation here. And thank you to the OHRA board members who are our thought partners and just so important to the work that we're doing at OHRA and helped us get the word out about the summit. And thank you so much to Dennis Slattery for his time and all the time and preparation it took to pull together this event in a very short period of time. And last but not least, Thank you to all of you in this room and who you paid to come to this summit in exploration and with curiosity to learn about the root causes of homelessness in our nation at the state level, at the county and city level, and to hear from some of our community partners about the work they do in our community. We'll hear their approaches, their challenges, and accomplishments. So today we are here to explore the root causes of homelessness. That's really ultimately what we're looking to do today, is have a conversation about those root causes. We're not going to solve the problems today. That'll be next summit. And there are already a lot of conversations going on in our community, in our state, at the national level. A lot of you are involved in those conversations that are already having. So I hope today you leave with a sense of understanding, curiosity, a way to get connected back into your community with all the things you're already doing. We didn't know how this was all going to go today, and I think this has been an amazing day. I do. The compassion, the empathy, the palpable pulse of this room, you can feel the caring, the concern, the curiosity, and listening to conversations that people are having. And so thank you all for being in this room. Thank you to our tablers and everybody who participated in this event, and thank you all. I know this is kind of after the fact, and I was given the opportunity by Jordan Pease, who was able to get the grant to make this all happen, to talk about the services that we provide at OHRA. Everybody in this room is providing amazing services, and all of our organizations do work with each other, and in the background, we may not be communicating this out in our community. We work on a continuum of care, and we work to connect with each other to provide services as we're all wrapping around the same folks to help provide services. I do want to give a plug. There is a newly released community health assessment from Jackson County at All In for Health. So go check it out. Thank you, Stacy. Okay. So, OHRA. We were started by a group of concerned citizens, many in this room, in 2012. And it was a group of volunteers that got together to serve Ashland. And we have grown into an organization that is serving all of Jackson County. The huge three core programs of what we're doing, like I said before, are our resource center. And what's happening between the resource center and our low barrier shelter that I was telling you all about is this symbiotic relationship. After we get people housed, after people come through shelter, they've got that 6 month there, they're working with Navigators, they're removing barriers, they're getting housed. The beauty of having a walk-in resource center is that even after somebody leaves your program, leaves your shelter, they can come back in through the front door of the resource center and continue to work alongside the people they've just built a relationship with. And these relationships go on and on and on. So somebody might be working on a job for the first time, and then next thing you know, they're coming in to work with their navigator for another job. So that, I believe, when we're talking about reporting to HUD or the state, that is our N=1 right now, this symbiotic relationship between walk-in resource center and navigation. That piece is around that casework. That is so important after we get people housed, to keep them housed and help them to remove those barriers. I think, rather than going into slides, and I know you probably all want to go home, who wants to be the last one up presenting? I do want to go back to the fact that when anybody comes in and walks in through the resource center, you never know what you're going to get. So on the left side here, you see the direct help that the Navigators are providing. When you look at all the applications and referrals to on the right side, this is all about our community partnerships. This is about all of the organizations, many in this room, that are working to refer to each other and refer back. So our Navigators are referring to people in the community and receiving referrals from other community partners. The OHRA Center, when it came together, I actually came from Jackson County Public Health, and I was coordinating the syringe exchange program. And I would work with about 100 people a day, most of whom lived on the Greenway. And my job was working with people who inject and getting them clean equipment. I was lucky to have that job and to work alongside folks and build friendships and hear stories, tragic stories, traumatic stories, a lot of trauma. But when somebody would come in and they would just say, I just got a roof over my head, and then they'd come and report a week later, I would see such a huge difference in their hope, in their demeanor, in their health. And so when I had the opportunity to come to this organization, I came in as the shelter director, worked through to become the director of program services and the executive director right about the time that our friend Pam Marsh was helping us get the Super 8. And part of that was how our organization came together, the board, the organization, to build a social service hub. We focused similarly to what happens at Jackson County Health and Human Services. When somebody comes through the door to syringe exchange, you're getting them connected to La Clinica or wound care or the clinic or WIC or SNAP benefits, signing up for health insurance, connections to Addictions Recovery Center or On Track, referrals to Access, everybody in this room. Once we got somebody through the door, you could really get them connected to services. And that's how we built OHRA. That's why we are a social service hub. That whole goal is when somebody comes through the resource center that we work with community partners to get them in to provide services. We also brought in La Clinica, and it was really innovative and fun to create that with Barbara Johnson. And now we have a fully federally qualified health clinic within OHRA providing mental health, medical health, medication-assisted treatment to folks in the shelter and folks coming in through the resource center. So that's a huge, wonderful. It just keeps getting better and better with those relationships that happen with the La Clinica folks and the behavioral health specialists that can build relationships with people when they're coming in through the resource center. So many people who've been sleeping in the rough or coming inside have been utilizing the emergency room as their primary care. And once they come in and get connected to those services, it's pretty profound. They can take their medication, they have a roof over their head, and a place to stabilize. And by the way, any people, about half the folks of the 52 shelter rooms we have jobs and are working out in the community. So that's really important. Just needed a roof over their head, a shower, nutrition, a place to wash their clothing. Like Melanie said, our organization, we're seeing at shelter, we are seeing an increase in our unsheltered, unhoused senior population. We are having a wave of people coming to our door for the first time that have worked their whole life, living on a fixed income, no opportunity to increase their income. Maybe their partner passed. Now all of a sudden they're living in their car or they're sheltered. We've got people up to 85, 90 years old at the shelter. And so that's pretty staggering, and we do work to get folks housed. Part of the emergency order that Melanie was talking about and our community and our agencies knocking it out of the park, I just have to give a shout out to my Navigators who are just doing a great job. We got our first pass-through funding and started passing through funding on July 13th of this last year. And within 3.5 months, my Navigators had 81 families permanently housed. And we did 103 eviction preventions. That piece right there, those are families that we kept housed. And we were part of the response along with Access and other organizations that were getting folks housed and keeping them housed. I want to just circle back and close up with one thing or two. That's a huge piece of what we're doing at OHRA and in our community is we are keeping families housed. And like Pam was saying, and that's the best thing we can do is to prevent homelessness. So I don't get reimbursed for my Navigator time, those 10 Navigators. We're an organization that goes out like every other nonprofit, we've got grants and donations and everything. So regardless of whether it's OHRA or other organizations in our community, whoever you support, they're doing the work on the ground and a lot of times without that reimbursement. So it's not like a per member per month. So find your organization that you want to support, like, volunteer like we were talking about. And I hope that we continue this conversation, and I just want to thank you all for being here. Thank you.
Wow. Jordan Pease, founder director of Rogue Valley Metaphysical Library here in Ashland. We've been doing the work there since 2001. Just three quick things before we conclude today. Please give yourselves all a round of applause. This really is a powerful event that we created here for you all. Thank you so much for coming and for caring about these issues. So just a little bit of logistics. As soon as the video crew provides me the recordings, all this will become available for free on YouTube. Hopefully by Monday is what we're shooting for. So we encourage you all to share those recordings with your communities to help propagate the messages that were translated here. This idea of takes a village is a little bit of a cliche, but certainly as it applies to this subject, it seems very appropriate to use a phrase like that. So please help us as organizers to share those recordings. If you, all the people that have tickets will receive that email. I want to just take one more moment of your time. Lauren Trantham is in the audience. I'd like to invite her up. Originally, when this idea was conceived, it was going to be a 2-day event, and we were going to combine homelessness and human trafficking as one program, but I think we made the right decision to separate those things out. So as you've seen on the back of your programs, we're going to organize a very similar event, a 2-day event, here in this same auditorium. That's March 22nd and 23rd. And I'd like to introduce to you my friend and hero activist, Lauren Trantham, who will just take a moment of your time to explain what's happening. Yes, please.
Thank you, Jordan, and thank you for hosting this phenomenal summit today. I'm glad to be able to come up here today to talk to you guys about the Human Trafficking Disruptor Summit that we're hosting next month, and to tie it into a little bit of what you've learned today. Trafficking among youth experiencing homelessness ranges from 20 to 40%. 68% of youth experiencing homelessness reported having to engage in survival sex, which is where they have to trade sex for shelter and food. That was 68%. 91% of youth experiencing homelessness were approached by a trafficker, often within the first 48 hours. That's 91%. So these issues are very closely related. And so I know if you have a heart for homelessness, you'll also have a heart for our summit that comes up next month. Those statistics come to us from the National Center of Missing and Exploited Children. There's something else you might not know about the Rogue Valley. I was recently at a conference in Wyoming when a gentleman came up to present on labor trafficking. And I was sitting in the audience watching when he started to play a video about a community in the United States that was experiencing some of the highest levels of labor trafficking. And my heart stopped when he said it was the Rogue Valley. I was at this national conference and I had no idea that that was happening here. And so at our conference, at our summit, we're going to be discussing issues like the homelessness epidemic and trafficking, trafficking among missing and murdered Indigenous populations, familial trafficking, and labor trafficking. So we hope that you all can attend. We have early bird prices, and we can't wait to focus on the solutions of what we can do as a community together to continue to work on these issues. So thanks a lot. Thanks, Jordan. Oh, $75. It is a 2-day event, and it does include another delicious lunch. Thank you all.
Thank you, Lauren. Thank you again. Thank you to Dennis Slattery, our great moderator, of course, all the panelists, and all the people that helped us promote this event. And again, thank you all to you for caring about this, giving up this beautiful weather Saturday to stay here. We invite you to stay longer. Of course, we have 16 exhibitors around this room that would be very happy to tell you about their service. So please stick around for a little bit, talk to other attendees, and learn from these great community servants. Thank you again. Thank you again.